Yeah. All right. This is Clay Nelson, Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour, and you're listening to Getting What You Say You Want. And wow, the show is just flying by. And Susan, you're talking so great today, and the phone calls have been terrific, and the emails are just flying in here. By the way, I haven't even told anybody. Email us at clay@mediasb.com. And if you want to call in, if you're streaming, just dial 866-564-1290. Or if you're local, call 564-1290. We'll sure pick up the phone and do the dance. And for the gentleman that called on the break that wants to know about which CD to buy for getting his life balance going, it's the second of a triple set. It's called the Taking Care of Me series, and it's got life balance, personal planning, and accountability on that triple set. That's the one you should get. Now, just so we keep everything on track, because on a radio show, you know, people dial in and out, things are happening, they're listening while they're driving the car, and they have to turn a corner, or somebody cuts them off, or they're talking to somebody on the car, you know? So it's all about getting really straight. So remember, this show has been about getting what you say you want. First, you have to know what the heck it is. I mean, duh, you know what I mean? Also, you have to know what it isn't. You know, like what you don't want. Second, you have to put what you want into writing, because if you can't put what you want into writing, you can't language what you want. And if you can't write down and then language what you want, you can't ask anybody to hold you accountable for getting it. Plus, no one can help you because they can't read your mind. Whoa, you know. And then third, you have to really know what you want and, quite frankly, get straight about, got a pretty good idea of how you're going to get there. So you have to write down the steps. And that's what Susan and I were talking about before the break, is you kind of know what you want and you know where you are when you're beginning it. All right. So this is over here on the left, or wherever your feet are. This is where I am. And what I want is over here. This is where I'm going. And the middle is called the plan. So you write down your intentions, and I remember I called those specific, measurable results with by wins, and a by win is a date. So if you got a 6-month plan, you break it down into 6 1-month plans, and then you break it down into each month into 4 1-week plans, and then each week you break it down into 7 days. In my case, 5 days, because I don't work on the weekends, you know. and then you just break it down, and just get her done, you know. Now, fourth, all right, so I did 1, 2, and 3. Fourth, you have to keep what you want and don't want in front of you at all times, you know. So you can't let your circumstances get you down.
Well, Clay, actually, before we jump further on that, I want to make sure that we go ahead and chat with Karen on the line.
Oh, great.
I call it a Section 3 question.
Yeah. Wow.
Karen, welcome to the show.
Section 3. Hi, Karen.
Hi, thanks. You know, you're talking about getting what we want today, and I would like to know what advice you would give someone who what they want is the complete opposite one from what their partner wants.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know,
is this
how do you
your
manage
friend?
that?
Is this a problem your friend has? This isn't a problem you're having, of course,
Oh,
is it?
no.
No, I didn't think so. So we'll just talk about your friend, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the question now?
Well, what would you advise my friend?
Yeah, it'd be a lot
wants-
easier to advise her.
Her a want that she has is completely different than that of her husband.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of locking horns over it. So,
Okay.
you know, you're in this life situation, you got someone you love dearly,
Uh-huh.
and we can't come to an agreement about
Well,
it.
isn't a relationship kind of a give and take thing? I mean,
Yes.
some things you give a little, some things you take a little, and it's all about balancing out the give and take. It's all about having the love affair, you know, be greater than the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what if your friend, what if she gave a little, and what if out of her giving a little, she kind of softened the ground for him to give a little, and all of a sudden, everything just kind of worked out. You know what I mean? Or how about this? How about if it didn't matter? See, because the truth is, and this is something your friend may take a little while to absorb, the truth is down the road a piece, a year or two, the issue you have now won't even matter because you'll have different ones going then.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got in trouble in a marriage one time keeping score on win-lose. And it's never a positive thing to do. A relationship or a marriage is not about keeping score. It's about how you learn to be with each other. And quite frankly, when you're laying on your bed completing your life, the scoreboard doesn't matter. It's the hugs you get before the Lord takes you that matters.
Yeah, I totally hear you, and I guess my biggest problem is I'm not used to being told no very often.
Oh, really? So this could possibly concern you and not your friend.
Yeah, well, I figure we might as well just give up all the pretense.
Okay,
It
good.
wasn't
Yes,
working anyway.
Okay, so what if controlling or what if getting it your way, quite frankly, created more of a problem than the payoff of getting it done in the first place? What if your way doesn't matter? What if your way is just a way, not the way? Mm-hmm. And who needs to learn how to be bigger? All right. Unless you really want to stand your ground, and you have to, when you stand your ground on something like this, you have to balance out the costs. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, the other side of it is too. Is if you're used to surrendering all the time, maybe it's time for you to stand your ground. But you could stand your ground in a way that doesn't make somebody want to pull their stiletto out and poke you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got it.
You got it. So
Uh-huh.
there's all kinds of ways to win an upset. Mm-hmm. You could even get it to where everybody wins.
Okay.
And that takes some effort, okay? It also takes instant forgiveness. It also takes serious things, and it takes you being able to move them over into the fun category, which isn't easy.
Okay.
Just think, if we could get the whole world to take serious stuff and move it over into the fun category, my God, man, we wouldn't have war, would we?
Yeah,
We
life
wouldn't
would be a
have
lot
famine, would we?
No.
Right? We wouldn't be running out of air to breathe and water to drink, would we? So you get it?
Yeah, I do.
Way cool.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for letting me say my piece.
Okay,
Sure.
thanks, Karen.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
Karen. Bye-bye now. All right,
Wow.
now. So, boy, that was, shall we say, more than the standard question I've gotten on the radio show.
Yeah, it's pretty profound.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. That.
No, it's hard to pick up the pace again.
Yeah,
after
well,
that,
I mean,
but,
it's pretty serious. When you want to stand your ground, you're going to stand your ground and everything else, and you're putting everything you got in a relationship at stake, and you have to balance out, is it worth it or not? And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in my 63 years, whenever I've stood my ground and I was a bull, it cost me more than it was worth. That's just been my experience, okay? Now, there are things that can happen to us in life that you need to stand your ground to and take what you get. Now, I'm not sure to what degree that was in her life, but that was a tough conversation for her to hear.
And it was nice what you said, too, about the possibility on the other side of the coin is if she's been giving up and giving up and giving up for a long time, and it's time for her to take a stand for herself.
Yeah.
And maybe she should stand her ground for her
Yeah.
until they come to a compromise.
And what I just learned, especially if we could do that on the radio, is I think if I had to do this over again, I would have asked what the topic is.
Oh, yeah, instead of kind of bouncing around.
Yeah, instead of bouncing around the topic, All right, so now let's move on. Now, so remember, this show is all about getting what you say you want. First of all, you have to know what the heck it is. Second, you have to be able to write it down. Third, you have to know how you're going to get there. So you have to put a plan together, all right? You have to keep, number 4 is you have to keep what you want in front of you. I mean, yeah, you have to keep it in your vision. Don't let your circumstances or a forest fire change your direction. And 5th, I can just about absolutely assure you that whatever it is you want, if you don't have it and you still want it and you really want it and you don't have it, it is so big one person can't get it by themselves. So you're going to have to ask for help. That's the game. All right. Now I'm going to go on another break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to really talk about what it is to build an accountability team, how to get past surrendering to the fact that you can't get it by yourself, whatever it is, you have to ask for help, and you don't wanna. You know what I mean? Like, I can do this. I don't need any help. How to get over that. So you're listening to Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour. The name of the show is Getting What You Say You Want, and my wife's haircut is still gorgeous. So get on back
Thanks,
here.
honey.